Welcome back to the next section of Traefik Training. In this section, we're going to talk all about the Basic Authentication Lab. So we're going to enable usernames and passwords directly onto our catapp. And I'm going to show you also how we're going to generate these passwords and how we're going to start testing it as well. So let's get started. Let's head over to our Traefik Training repo, as you remember, and we scroll down and we are now down to section 5, Traefik Middlewares. Go ahead and click Traefik Middlewares. And we're going to head to the first section. And basically, we're going to add basic authentication to our app. First things is kind of housekeeping. So we're going to remove any Traefik deployments that are currently running. We're going to then change to the 05 middlewares folder. And then we're going to create this password. You see this is a special string right here. And I'll explain it in a little bit more detail. Then we're going to take this password. We're going to then copy it into our middleware, and you can see exactly what it's going to look like. So let's head over to our command line and take a look what's happening. All right. So first, let's take a look at our docker-compose.yml YAML file. Everything is basically the same in this file, except when we start scrolling down, you can see we have the sections broken out by their use. So you see router labels, service labels, and then middleware. And here is the label to actually enable the test authentication. So the basic authentication. And you see users, Traefik, and then it's a hash password here. Then user2 is this hash password as well. And you can see here's the two passwords. So Traefik password training, user2 password test 123. Now to create the password, I'm actually going to copy this here, and we're going to create this password, and we're going to do this directly in the console here. So let's create this password, and I'm going to do Traefik Training, Traefik, and the password is training. There you go. And you can see it creates the user. Here's the user field separated, and then the password. Now, why we're using this command? Because the htpasswd creates a password for us. However, Traefik doesn't like all these $signs, so we actually have to use the command sed to do a global search and replace on $sign and add an additional $sign. And that's because how Traefik handles the $sign variable. We need to add an additional one to make sure it's not like escaping special characters. So that's doing that automatically. Also, if you're using Windows, there's a link in the section notes that allows you to generate the password online. But then if you do have any $signs, make sure you have $2 for each $sign you see. All right, so we've created our password. We can then run it again for test, or let's see, user2 and test 1, 2, 2, 3. And there you go. So essentially, we're going to copy these and we're going to copy them into our file. But I've already taken a liberty to actually create the username password. So you see, we have our middleware authentication middleware. So Traefik HTTP middlewares, test auth. So that's the name we're giving it. So I just called it test auth. Basic auth is the name of the middleware, and users. So it's actually defining the users. And again, here's Traefik with the password, and user2 with the password. So that's all we need to do to enable basic authentication on the cat application. Now we also need to tell our router that we have a new middleware. So up here, there's a new line, and you see we have cat app middleware equals test auth. So it basically joins the router to the middleware, and you'll see exactly how that works once we deploy it. So let's go ahead and deploy it. Docker stack deploy -e docker auth, and we're going to call it the Traefik. We'll deploy it. It's running. Good times. Now let's head over to our browser, and we're actually going to open our dashboard first, and then go over to services, and then you see our service, catapp docker. And we can see our router. We go click on our router, and there you go. You see our entry point, HTTP router is catapp, the middleware is BasicAuth, and the service. And you can see all the details regarding the middleware right here. So actually the users, the hash, and any other details regarding the actual service or middleware, sorry. So let's open up our cat app. And there you go. It's prompting us for a username password. Now we can actually call this Traefik as the user. And if you remember, training is the password. So there you go. We've now successfully logged into our application. Now, some of the downfalls is it's stored in cache. So that means if you log in, log back out, or open another tab, it may ask you, it doesn't ask you for the password anymore. So you have to clear your cookies. But if you change the password, it'll force you to re-log in. And that's it. So that's the Basic Authentication app. We actually put a username password in front of our application that didn't have any authentication before. Great. Now join me in the next section as we continue adding middlewares to our cat app. And we're gonna, in the next section, we're gonna actually add compression so we can see it, our cat app possibly load even faster than it already is. Join me in the next section.